What is going on, everybody? Welcome back, spectators. My name is Julian. I'm here with Nico, and we have a very special guest today. Tim Blackmon, the co-owner of MVP Florida, is here in the building. Former collegiate athlete, baseball player, and a Tampa native himself. Tim, what's going on, man? Welcome to the
What up, big dog?
spectators.
Welcome, welcome,
Appreciate it, man.
welcome.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you. And like I said, MVP Baseball is something that Nico is affiliated with, and he's been letting us know all about and how excited he's been to be a part of what you guys have going on over there. To start off, tell me a little bit about MVP Baseball and how you got involved with it.
Cool, man. Yeah. Obviously, with our academy and now the new brand, we were formerly TBSA. There's a guy named Picoticos out of New York who was running a great program that we merged with probably about 2.5 years ago. Me and him formed a pretty good partnership and a pretty good bond. And long story short, man, we came up with the name of MVP. The umbrella, expands from Florida to New York, Pennsylvania. We also have, I think, North Carolina in there as well. So I'm fortunate to be the co-owner of the Florida section in general. And yeah, man, we're just ready to move on. Basically, we have teams from 8U up to 18U, and it spans from obviously just any kind of level of play, from your intermediate to interscholastic. We're also trying to make sure that we get kids to the level of college and above. So, been a fun journey, man. Probably started doing this travel ball thing about 4 years ago, and it's really blown. I've grown through it, and it's been a great process. I'm happy to be a part of this new venture, this new brand is starting to go in the right direction. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
absolutely.
awesome.
And I know, so me personally, I grew up playing baseball and travel ball, same area, right? Bloomingdale High School alumni, played travel
Okay.
ball all over Florida and for a couple of different organizations, not just in Florida, but across the nation. And so you kind of see some of these other orgs as you go to other travel ball tournaments. There's the organizations like Evo Shield, and then obviously in Florida we have like the Scorpions, and
Mhm.
there's some of those big organizations. How do you are you like taking anything from them to try and move this MVP
Oh yeah.
forward, or how has that kind of influence looked?
Oh yeah, of course. So I mean, obviously, I have a little experience just from the past 4 years, but you always look at the guys that are above you to kind of see how to get there and whatnot. So the guys like the FTBs out there, they kind of created a little wave last year with their YouTube channel. They had a bunch of guys that were top nationally ranked. I mean, shoot, I think like 8 of those guys are now we're like top 10 rounders in the draft this past year. So you got to take some things from that and just kind of learn how you're gonna now put yourself in that spot. But yeah, I think just knowing that Florida's really heavy in baseball, you got to go hard. Really, you got to recruit. You got to have a really good foundation on how you develop kids, and just making it more entertaining. Right? Don't get it wrong. You have to play baseball and you want to win ball games, but you got to also make it kind of entertaining for parents to even get involved in it too. And just seeing the teams around, just locally and just all through Florida, definitely is a motivator because again, I mean, with MVP, I want to be up there. Right? I don't strive to be in the middle of the pack. Like we're trying to be up there with the big dogs. So and we'll be there soon.
Yeah, and just to kind of build off that, right? I personally know you, right, and I know a lot. But for everyone who might not know, you were a former player in it yourself, right? You did, I believe, a couple years at Lake Sumter Community College or State College is what it's called now. And then after that, you transferred down south to Barry
Yeah.
University in Miami into that D2 conference, a really powerhouse Division II conference here in
Oh,
Florida. Um, so how did that transition go from becoming such a high competitive baseball player? And I believe even after college, you went and played professional and
mhm.
independent ball and stuff. So again, at such a high level of baseball, how did you kind of make that transition from being player into a coach and being that mentor to a lot of these kids? Because you're not just some dad coach either that's just scrounging together a travel ball team,
Yeah.
getting 12 guys
Yeah.
together and just playing.
Right.
You actually have a good resume of guys. You got a University of Miami commit in 2025, Ronald Cosby, a couple other D1 commits in Vincent DiCarlo, North Carolina State. So you got a good resume into that. So how are you able to make that transition from
Yeah.
becoming player to coach?
That's cool. You mentioned that honestly. Like I think some people don't understand. Like it really is a transition, right? I have a lot of buddies that play with me, high school, college, and even some pro ball guys in general, and kind of struggle to kind of move from the player into like the next form of life. So whether, it could be that they own, so it's like something in like, I don't know, the homes or whatnot. It's just a completely different level where your mental has to change. I think for me, it's been easy because I've always loved baseball. I love sports. So to kind of get into the next wave from playing to coaching was easy because I just love competing, right? Like, I mean, I think every Saturday morning I'm trying to play basketball, right? So just for me, I just want to compete 24/7. So just being in that environment still and helping kids kind of understand how I move, right? Like just trying to motivate kids and realize that, hey, like this sport is bigger than just a sport. It's really about life. And that's kind of how I view it. So for me, it was obviously different. Played JUCO baseball, played Division II baseball, played some pro ball, and get into coaching. I didn't really know what I was going to do initially. Your former head coach Kevin Wilburn kind of got me into coaching in high school baseball, and you pick from the guys that have led you. So my father, my brother, guys that coached me in travel ball, in college, and in pro baseball. You kind of pick away from them and just take away things that you did as an athlete and just see how it's going to help you. So for me personally, to move forward into the coaching realm, I think my biggest hurdle was trying to figure out how do I, like reach with the kids, right? Like it's easy to tell kids what to do, that's kind of easy, but how do I connect with them? How do I reach them? How do I get them to understand like what I'm telling you I need you to kind of do, but also I want you to find a way to do it in your own way as well. I think that was, probably my biggest hurdle. But to be real, I just love baseball. So that was kind of the easy part. Like I like to see guys develop. I thoroughly enjoy seeing, our players start from where they were and then to progress. So I've always enjoyed that part of just sports in general, life in general. So I could have been a trainer, right? I just want to see guys get better. And it's cool for me to have a hand in that. So, yeah, man, it started with the high school stuff with Spoto. It grew. I really became in love with the process, to be honest with you. Like I just love the process of learning. It's definitely different. Playing and coaching are completely different. They're completely different. Like there's times, probably 5 years ago when I was coaching and I'm like, okay, I got this. And you don't think about all scenarios that might occur, right? Like
Yeah.
I go infield in less than 2 hours in a tie ball game, I might put us in a spot to be, compromised later in that game to be down a run when that run could have been counted for us later in the game. So you just see things from a whole different space. And it was definitely not easy, right? Like I couldn't fungo. I couldn't hit a fungo first.
Dude, he killed me yesterday at practice.
What you've gone through. What you've gone through. So I couldn't hit a fungo, man. You got to learn how to like have kids move around, rotate kids, have them buy into what you're selling, basically. So it was definitely different. When you're playing, it's just you. You get up, you motivate. Don't get it wrong, you have a team, obviously, but like you get up, it's on you how you perform, right? It's the work you put in. Different. I got 12 to 18 guys I'm accountable for, and I got to make sure that they all understand what we're trying to accomplish going into game 1, game 2, game 3, etc. So it definitely wasn't easy, right? But the process is something that I began to, enjoy. I'll say that much.
Yeah, and the process is especially crazy because from what I understand, you were a two-way guy, right? When you were playing. So, you have obviously background in both with the pitching aspect, the hitting aspect. Which are you more comfortable, like particularly coaching up guys with? Because you're not going to be more comfortable with both. That's just how that goes.
Yeah, no.
That's just how that goes.
I feel that. Like, what I would say, I would change the verbiage from comfortable. Like, what I would say is that, like, I would tell you that I'm. I think I'm trying to think of what I want to use.
No, I got you.
But I'm more in tune pitching wise, and I only say this because pitching is so much more mentally challenging in my opinion, right? Like you're on an island. Yeah. Like that mountain is an island. Like you're on an island. And everybody's watching you. Like we can't move until you move. Like we can't do anything until you move. So I feel like the pitching part of it, I'm more in tune with because, you always can figure out what's you're best at and what you failed at and had to learn from. Yeah. So I think on that mountain, I had some failures on that mountain, right? Like I failed in pro ball. I didn't know what I was doing. I threw hard initially my first year there. got my butt kicked a little bit, and had to kind of just figure. And just had to figure it out, right? Year 2, 3, and 4 were way better, but that first year, man, it's different. You're learning how to, what's your routine, what's your process, how do you recover after a start, how do you attack hitters, right? You're playing the same team, probably like in 3 weeks, in a different 4-game series or 5-game series. How do I operate the same hitter that saw me 2 weeks ago? How do I go at him this week now, right? He's already seen what I have for the most part. How do I now get him out 2 weeks later in general? So I think just that portion for me, I was more in tune with. So when I coach or teach pitching, I probably see the return faster, is what I'll say. I see returns, whether it be fielding or whatever, but I see the return faster pitching-wise because I can relate it more physically, mentally, emotionally, too, in that entire section of the sport.
Yeah. I was gonna say I could vouch for him. I knew that was gonna be a tough question because
it's tough.
When you asked him that, I've seen and you do coaching and lessons through everything. I see you do fielding lessons, pitching lessons, hitting lessons, and all of them are very in depth, in tune, and very that's the thing that you draw with what you were saying, and I was gonna bring up too as well in the comparison between player and coach. Is a lot of people are good baseball players, but they can't translate the knowledge that they have to a kid. And that's a big thing that a lot of coaches or player coaches that transition kind of struggle with is being able to, okay, I understand this, but how do I get this 12-year-old kid who might have just picked up a baseball a year ago or 2 years ago and trying to translate this information to him? And through seeing your lessons, it's very in depth. And you have, your initial, what you see with what you get, right? You get a player, okay, he has a little bit of this, and then you build off that, right? You don't give every player the same blueprint in a sense. Okay, we're going to do this. You see what players have, and you kind of build off of what they have and get that better in a sense, which I personally see, and I think it's a great thing. So if there was one person, my question leading into this, if there was one person you had to attest to that kind of really helped you get in tune with your skills or really kind of help you get click, you know what I'm saying, and get right in that sense. Who is there? Multiple people, a coach, a mentor, a player, even anybody that you have?
To say one is tough.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be to say one is tough.
There's a lot of people in a journey.
It's got to be.
Yeah,
but
man.
I feel necessarily one, right? Because you could have had that moment in high school and everything. But for an example, you were that for me in college though. But it got into the college when I figured it out for you. It wasn't in high school, right? Coach Wellborn was great. I had so many people that I could attest to that helped me really click and get in tune. But when I got to college and I was on my own, that's when it really sat in because then I was away from it and I was like, oh, dang, what he said. And then I started to see failure and then success after the failure from the hard work. And I was like, dang, this is what he said the whole time. So that was my kind of coming to in a sense.
Yeah.
You have kind of a moment where you failed in a sense or something like that. And you kind of, somebody just came into your head. I know it's probably tough.
I'm going to say the best teacher in life is failure. I'm going to go with that first, right? Just failure in general is the best teacher in life, at least for me personally. Probably go to my brother, bro, to be real with you. And that's no disrespect to any coach I've ever had because I've had some phenomenal coaches. But probably my brother Zoe, man. We've gone to war in the sense of I'm 10 years old. Me, him, and the cages by ourselves, just going to work. Summertime. I'm playing for his teams in summertime. We're in the cages for about 2 hours, just going to work. Just 2 hours, boom. Then after that, hitting the field, get some ground ball. After that, on the mound, working on some bullpen work. Just going to work. So. And like you said, right, I didn't realize it back then. Back then, you're mature. So I kind of I was a little rebellious. I kind of fought the training, nah, man, leave me alone. Whatever's too much. Yeah. And you don't realize it, right? And my brother's he's real cerebral. He's a real smart dude. And I think sometimes I just didn't really take into account everything until I got older and I got away from him, right? Which is kind of what you said, right? You left high school, went to college, and that's when you kind of oh, damn.
Yeah.
Right. So that's kind of how it was for me too. I got away from him. I went to, pro ball, or whatnot. He ended up getting married and traveling to a whole different state. I think we're on different time zones or whatnot. So I had to figure it out on my own. And that's really when I became in my mental, a dog of just in life, not even about my performance or the results, just my mentality changed in that sense. But he taught me a lot of things when it comes to just like understanding who you are, being confident, through failures. Just being able to make adjustments. Like a lot of things that he taught me, kind of what I teach now, obviously is a little bit different because, I've experienced different guys that taught me things and I've learned from them. I can pick apart and put things together, the way I want. But maybe just in that mental scope, I say my older brother Zoe is probably who really put me on to some things like that.
Yeah, I like that question too, because there's a quote that I saw. I was watching I think it was a Yankees Royals game earlier this year, and I was watching the Royals cast for whatever reason, and they were talking about hitting coaches because George Brett came into the Royals a couple of years ago to become a hitting coach, and they're like, George Brett, maybe the best third baseman of all time, certainly the best left-handed hitting third baseman of all time, comes into the Royals. He goes into the batting cages with these guys, and he's looking at him, and they're like, George, like, can you give me some pointers? He's like, not really, like, just hit the ball. And it's kind of a funny thing, like, wow, a Hall of Famer and one of the best to ever do it can't teach. He's just like, dude, why can't you hit it? It's not that easy. It's
a real thing, man. Like, we look at a lot of people, and like I think I was telling somebody at the academy like last week, like, yo, MJ is probably the best player of all time. And he might be top 5 worst GMs in the world. Like,
GM.
You know what I'm saying? Like he's one of the greatest hoopers you will ever see in your life until the time of Earth ends. But Buddy is just not the greatest GM. Now, he did take LaMelo, so I'll give him that. But, yeah, it's just, yeah.
But you even see it in Steve Nash, right? He has controversy, right? Great player, not the greatest coach, right?
Yeah.
It's very that, but you see it a lot in all sports. So it's very tough to make that to really draw that line between player and coach. It is really tough, you know what I mean? And especially with a game like baseball too. We've all seen it if we've played baseball at that young kid. Even if you played little league or even travel ball, some teams are kind of corrupt in that sense where you get dad coaches and parents that kind of live through their children. It's very tough and everything like that. And you didn't even mention that aspect of coaching, right? Having to deal with parents.
The parents,
you know what I mean? Because you coach a youth, you all the way up to high school, and we've all been there like, oh, coach, why am I not playing? Oh, parents probably have been there like, why is my son getting in there? So, how have you had any like big issues with dealing with
any parent controversy yet?
I know you've had some controversy there probably, but how do you kind of navigate through that for any maybe coaches or any player coaches that are aspiring to become coaches that, are making that transition?
Yeah, I mean, there's no way around it. You got to deal with them. Like, there's no, there's no way around it.
Can't ignore it.
I'm trying to think, like, probably like, so the group that with like Dre and Ronald, my 2024 team, basically.
Yeah. Great group.
When they were 12 years old, so 12 years old is like basically the year where all teams are trying to go to like a big event. So it was Cooperstown balls.
Yeah, Cooperstown. Yeah. All that. Yeah.
But when COVID hits, a little different now. So like teams go to like Pigeon Forge or Branson, like, but for the most part, Cooperstown is where everybody wants to go to. So I don't know what happens in 12U, and you can like ask coaches around the nation. But in 12U, the parents, it is just a different, I don't know what happens to them in 12U. Where it's like, this is the end all be all for them. And I'll be real, like, I probably went through just a ton of just mental struggles because, like, I love this game and I love seeing these kids grow. It's just tough when you're doing certain things and you're being questioned, or like they may not understand certain things on why you're doing it, and that part's gonna be there, right? Like, my advice, I guess, would just be to always know why you do what you do, because that helped me a lot, right? Like, if I got lost in the parents complaining or whatnot, then I wouldn't be doing my job to coach these kids anymore, right? Like, I would take it out on them. It's not their fault, right? Like, they're just kids at the end of the day trying to play baseball, a sport that they love playing. So it's definitely not easy. What I would recommend, you have to have tough skin to coach. That's the first thing, in a sense, and be very transparent, right? Like, don't be afraid to let parents know, where their kid is at. I'm not saying be rude about it, right? But just be very transparent in your evaluation of their kid. Be very transparent on what your goals are, what your process is. Like, how do kids earn a spot? How do kids, keep playing time? Where are they at in the batting order? Just being very fluid in that. I would recommend for every coach that's starting in this too, have a reason on why you're doing things, right? Like, don't ever do things without a reason, because when you get asked why it was done, or anything of that nature, you need to understand or be able to express, like, hey, this is why I did this, this, and this, because it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
A parent's gonna ask you, like, why was so and so pulled at this point, or why did you keep so and so in the game so long?
Why is little Timmy's playing shortstop and batting third?
Yeah. Why is he not playing here? Why did he not come back into the game? You're gonna get asked those things, so it's really important to just make sure that you have an understanding and a reasoning on why you're doing what you're doing. And I'm not saying that for guys to like feel like they have to like tell parents about why they did something. No. But like, you're gonna get asked, and again, it's still a sport where these parents are trying to see their kids grow, so they need angels also at some point. But I would definitely just tell guys that are trying to get into it, like, yo, just understand, know why you do what you do, so that you don't get lost in the madness. Because there are times where parents are gonna get upset. They may get high on emotions, which we all know can change how things are spoken out loud to each other and whatnot. And obviously have a reason on why you do what you're doing during games also. But it's definitely tough. Like, that's probably one of the hardest parts, because it's gonna happen, and some parents don't know the line to draw, right? Like, if we're in a game, you probably shouldn't come talk to me during the game, right? Like, it should probably be, like, we have a 24-hour rule at our academy, basically. So if a game ends, let's say, I don't know, like Sunday morning, like, a parent can't text, email, or call me about playing time or whatever until the next day. Like, 24-hour rule, because obviously we know you can be high on emotions and things that might get said that shouldn't be said. We might have lost and people are upset. So we had, those rules to kind of keep in place and keep the peace, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And keep people level-headed. And it's hard for parents. Like, we don't want to make them look like the bad guy too. They're spending money. This isn't a free thing. They're spending money. They're spending time, whether it just be in the registration, the hotel fees, food, obviously travel. Like, it's not a cheap thing to do travel baseball. So we understand, like, your gripes and all that. And I guess it's just important to know, when you're putting your kid into a situation, what they're going to be in that situation. So to have a coach be transparent is obviously super helpful for that. So,
and I think you drew it. You said it the best way too the other day. I think when you were telling me, it's like, you just can't make everyone happy at the end of the day, right? So no matter what, I guess somebody's gonna be mad with anything. Somebody's gonna be mad at someone else's happiness. So you literally can't make them both happy. So
you'll lose yourself trying to make everybody happy. That's just life. Like, not even baseball. That's just life. Like, you lose who you are trying to please everybody. So that's why I'm big on, know why you're doing what you're doing, right? If you're here to enjoy it, to teach, develop, and help these kids have fun, then keep doing that. Like, that's it, right? Because again, at the end of the day, you're not gonna please everybody. Somebody's gonna be mad at you, for whatever, right? A lot of our guys, give their time, even when it's not required. Like they might come on a Saturday, give 2 or 3 hours of of their time, or they could have been with their spouse or their kids, or whatever the case may be. So, like I said, you're right. Like, you can't please everybody, bro. Just do what you do and know why you do it.
Know why you do it is a very big thing. Yeah, you spoke a little bit about kind of having like a little bit of a routine, right? You had a routine, I'm sure, as a player. Probably have a routine as a coach. What are some similarities? What's your routine like? Kind of prepping into coach. Do you have like that pregame warm up? Is there one song that gets you hype and like let's go? Like, you know what I'm saying? Do you have like a certain thing you do every day? Like LeBron did the chalk every time, got him going. Let's Tom Brady, let's fucking go. You know what I'm saying? Do you have a type of pregame motivation, hype routine, even as a coach or maybe as a player, that really kind of gets you going?
I mean, you can probably ask some of the parents and players. Like, there's times where I've like been on the highway and like I've literally turned to my right, and like a player or a family was like driving next to me, and they're probably see me just getting live in the car or in the truck. I always try to get hyped before a game, just because I just love it, right? Like, the atmosphere is cool. I love competing, and like the kids feed off of it. So I bring the energy that they're probably bringing it too. I'd probably say obviously our routine is very similar. I put my outfit out early. I put it out like I'm coming with some kind of drip. So I'm putting the outfit out probably the night before. So I know what I'm wearing. Depending on how late the game is, I try to get like a little cardio in just to kind of get my blood flowing or whatnot. I usually don't eat before a game. It's not my thing. I don't eat before games normally. When I get to a game, I have everything written out for the most part. Lineup's already done. I know what I'm planning on doing, as in moving kids around in general.
Making that comparison, know what you're doing, why you're doing it.
Yeah,
Sounds great.
100%. 100%. And then we have a routine that the kids know. We get there probably an hour 15 before every game, depending on the time. If it's like an 8 a.m. game, sometimes it's nice and just say, hey, get there at 7, get there an hour before. But yeah, that routine. And then the boys know once they get there, we get our stretch going. We're done with that. We get into our hitting. So I'll have it set up where it's like T work, front toss, and then we'll start getting into like some live BP, depending on where we're at and what the space is like. We'll do that. When we're done with that, we'll probably also head towards the dugouts. My guys know they get there pretty early. I'm a big fan of having the third base dugout because I don't want to take the whole walk across the field. So I get that dugout for the most part. And it helps me be accountable too because I'm next to the dugout. So if the boys aren't, getting it up, they're not having any kind of life, hey, let's go. Come on, pick it up. Let's go to work.
Yeah.
So when we're done with the hitting, we walk over to the field. We get our bands, get our arm care routine going. There's a game before us. We always have to wait. So we might go over just some of the plays and make sure that they remember them. The mindset for this game, when they get on the field, they begin their throwing program in general. When we're done with the throwing program, we come in and do like a little IO towards, like the side of the field. And then like my guys personally, when they finish that, they all get on the foul line, work on their base running jumps, and then come in the dugout. I always play music. I'm big on it because, like I said, it's something that I did before every game, just kind of get hype, and the kids like it too. It keeps everything loose. So we did do that, and they finish their base running jumps. They come in. I'm probably at the plate meeting or whatnot. I come back from the plate meeting. We always do a prayer. So whoever's going to pitch that game, they do the prayer in general. Try to get a little hype and go to war.
Let's go. Music, a lot of music. Top 5 artists that you get going. Who you lit with? Who you playing?
Yes, top 5.
Championship game right now.
Yeah, like this is your top 5 hype that gets you
championship
game. You're right now. It ain't gotta be like forever all time. You're like right now that you're gonna play. You guys play like we're gonna go play in 2 hours right now. What are you championship busting? Your top 5 artists that you're gonna be playing that get people lit. Yeah, tough one.
Okay, so you're talking about top 5
right now.
I'll probably put Meek because Meek just a sports like.
Yeah.
You just put Meek on. You put Blue Notes on.
Yeah, bro. In the boxing gym, man, Meek Mill's always played in boxing.
You
gym.
put
like,
Meek on the gym. Yeah, like he's getting you moving.
Yeah.
You said hype. Gotta go Uzi for some hype because Uzi's just gonna bring some. He's gonna do something crazy. Dang. I'll probably go Nipsey Hussle. I know people like, no, that was my guy.
Yeah,
I'll probably go Nip because like Nip just gets me in the zone too.
Real out the gutter type vibe. You can,
100%.
Make you feel grateful for what you got.
Yes, and like this is like, and like that's a good one. I don't want to go generic. Don't get it wrong. I love Cole and Kendrick. Those are my guys. Like those are top 5 all time for me. I'm trying to. You said hype. I'm trying to think like what I'm listening to for like something hype. Recently, Young Nudie. A lot of kids like a lot of kids like him a lot, so he gets played often.
Nudie's good. I like Nudie.
Who else have been playing lately? Oh, they like basically anything with 21. Anything with 21 gets the players going.
Sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sounds
like,
all right.
Like that's just kind of the wave. That's 5. That's 4. That's 5.
That's 5.
That's 5. Yeah.
That's hype. I want everybody to know it's in my top 5 all the time.
That's just who we're playing. Yeah.
Do you have a top 5 all time?
It's in no order, bro. In no order. Make that clear. In no order, bro.
He's letting it be known right now.
It's got to be DMX. I grew up on no, bro. I grew up like DMX was my brother would be playing him in the room. Mom and dad didn't nobody, we're playing DMX in the room. Like that was my yeah. That was it.
He's a
DMX.
fighter. I think he's got really good hype music for fights too. Like he's in the. I think
100%.
he does. Like the UFC has like a deal. Will had like a deal with him or whatever, and they can play his music. I think so. Like
Yeah. No,
yeah, he's up there.
100%. For my generation, Cole and Kendrick got to be in there.
Yeah, fair.
I've been a question. They got to be in there. We said 5. That's tough because we didn't say 10. But so they got to be in there. Then you got
snub somebody.
Yeah, man.
Snub
Like
somebody.
3.1 is
like
5A, 5B.
I'm trying to think. Let me think. That's tough. You got to put Jay-Z in there. People don't like. You got to put Jay in there. You got to put Hope in there.
Yeah.
And I'll probably go Wayne because my middle school and high school days it was out of control.
That was
Wayne. Never a bad verse from Lil Wayne.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
Yeah. You off of that.
There was a time where Lil Wayne was literally always last on every feature just because he would body everybody. Like, you can't put Wayne to start the song, murder everybody, and then like have a song keep playing because it's just gonna be like, well, what the fuck? You just played Wayne.
They just hit next, like, all right, bro. I already heard Wayne. I'm out. Next song.
Yeah, like literally, that's exactly that. Oh, Wayne already went. Get him out of here. No, Wayne was up there, man. So that's tough. Nah, like literally, I feel like everyone's top 5 always changes though. Like
yeah, I mean. It's one of those things that we've talked about it on like episodes and stuff, but like nostalgia is a big factor, right? Like somebody that's our age is gonna say very different things than somebody even like 5 years older. Like I wouldn't say Jay-Z because I'm like a little bit too young for like a Jay-Z to really be super impactful for me. That's just kind of how that goes, you know?
Yeah.
I respect it, and honestly, I'll be real with you. I just had to give him the respect. Like he's like, and he might even be 5. Like if I'm going deep in the vault, like Lauryn Hill, got to be somewhere in there.
No.
And I'm going. Like I said, I'm going in the vault. Like
deep, the vault.
No, like just lyrically, what she did is out of control. And like, I mean, real. There's probably no female in y'all top 10 possibly.
No,
probably.
You feel me? Like
besides her,
maybe like not. Rihanna. Maybe
that's different. That's
That's like a singing and like you
like,
just talking about music in general.
Well, Lauren can rap. Like Lauren can rap.
I said this yesterday on my stream. I was like, yo, people sleep on Mariah Carey a little bit, bro.
Yo, Beyonce has some bars too. She I just top on the Maybach. That was hard. No, that's dope. Kind of to bring it back kind of into baseball. I know it's a very fun atmosphere and that's kind of the vibes I get because personally I've been there firsthand. But through your videos and your other kind of thing that you got going on with T Black Baseball, you're really pushing out a lot of really good information and really good product and what these kids are doing. We're seeing workouts, we're seeing a lot of kind of unique drills and hitting. I get there every day and it's a new kid doing a new drill and I'm every day I get amazed by it. So again, what are one of the things that you try to stand out from with MVP Florida and MVP baseball in general that's compared to like Florida Travel Ball or Scorpions Prime or your Canes National? What does MVP Florida stand out or can like provide kids differently in a sense or kind of guarantee in that sense?
So I guess like the first part is like when you mentioned like the stuff with like T Black Baseball, I just trying to make sure that people know who I am, right? Like who I am as a coach and what I do differently, and just kind of things that we put out there just for the kids to develop and just like enjoy it really. I think with the brand of MVP and MVP Florida, I think what we're doing differently is just like some of our marketing, right? We're starting to get bigger with that, but our reach, Pete, I mean, it's out of control. Just the reach that he has with schools and how we're getting kids committed, like you just said, I mean, we had 3 in the last month and a half, or no, 3 in the last month, where we had Vince to State, Ronald to UM, Rylan Bosenhart to Florida Gulf Coast, and we have a number of kids right now on the team that you saw probably last week that are like literally getting phone calls and whatnot.
Dre's.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of guys are just getting some reach. So I think for us, it's just really just trying to show people that we're invested and their children, but that we, for us, it's more about we have an environment too that's going to be fun. It's going to push you and challenge you. Don't get it wrong. I'm very big on making sure that every kid in that academy is going to be a good young man when they leave the academy. But we're gonna have a little swag, a little sauce, have a little fun, um, and just again provide a environment that the kids want to come. Like they want to be there every day. They're like, oh my god, no. Like they want to come, they want to join in or whatnot. So I think for us, when you compare or we're different from those other academies. It's just because one, we're a little newer in that sense, and just two, like we got a lot of young guys, right? Like myself, you, Jamal, like we have a lot of young guys that have a lot of just energy. And I think that's something big too. You get in the realm where you get some of the guys that have been more tenured, and they're great guys. Just a different level of energy when you can bring a group of tenured and some young guys in there that can just combine, right? We combine experience and knowledge with energy and life, motivation. I feel like that's kind of where we're at, and why we're going to continue to grow, and why I'm excited to just be a part of it right now.
Yeah, that's fire.
Yeah, and growing, I think, is a big thing, like a big word kind of thrown around baseball the last decade or so, because baseball is definitely an older generation sport that it's constantly
Yeah,
trying to get younger guys into. Obviously, it's slow. It's a slow burn as watching it professionally, and if you're not super into it, it can be intimidating. And with the growth of baseball has come like advanced analytics and a lot of spin rate in terms of pitching, launch angle and exit velos for hitting and all that. How much of the advanced and like new age baseball sciences are you implementing into your coaching, if any at all? I know it's kind of still relatively new, but
yeah. So I mean, anything with spin rate is obviously huge for us in the sense of just understanding how to get kids to bigger spin rate, um, and just create more backspin on pitches as well. Obviously, their breaking balls having more tilt in general. We have a few camps coming up soon where you'll see myself and Doug Banks actually using like the Rapsodo, so you can really see spin rate, axis, tilt, velos in general. So you'll see a lot of that too, because again, the game has changed in that sense. Everywhere you go, there's a radar gun at every event that you go to, whether it's going to measure your throwing from the infield and outfield on the mound, your exit velo in general. So we definitely use it. You have to. It's a decent measuring tool to use for these kids to realize where they began at and where they are at now. Like he was saying earlier about Dre, I had, me and Dre started going like really hard probably a year or so ago. He was at 86 two summers ago. And then probably in the fall, got to 80, 88. Later in that, he had 90, and now he's really sitting like 90, 91 as a junior. Or I'm sorry, 92 as a junior. And like you said, right, just using those measuring tools that we were able to use prior, he's able to kind of see how far he's come in his progression and where he's at now in the recruiting process as well. So it's definitely needed. We don't get too deep in launch angle stuff. I'll be real with you. Don't get it wrong. No matter what in your swing, you're gonna get to a launch angle, but we don't necessarily try to make it a humongous talking point. But definitely things of velos from the mound, the field, outfield in general, they're needed. You have to have them, right? Every event you go to, whether it be PBR, prospect wire, perfect game, you're going to get measured on these things. So I think we'd be foolish to not work on them prior, have the kids know what they are so that when they do get into these events, they're not overwhelmed or anything of that nature.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
that makes sense.
I think focusing on pitching at a younger age as opposed to like hitting and launch angle isn't a bad idea either. You mentioned it when I asked you about which you preferred or like were more comfortable with. You said pitching. I guess that basis is when you're pitching, you kind of control more so than anything, right? You're the guy, like you said, setting the tempo. Nothing happens unless you move. So starting with those foundations and creating that tilt and perceived velocity, actual velocity, all that in the thing you can control is probably a good building block for a lot of these kids. So
100%.
It's been great too, and you did mention something earlier too, saying like a big thing is like helping these kids and kind of to build off the growth sense and what Julian was saying. You help these kids grow, right, and become better men. And I've kind of taken from the sense that you've drawn the comparison in baseball and life, kind of in a sense. How has baseball kind of helped you draw that comparison or help you prepare in life, I guess, in a sense? Because I can see the comparisons you're using with baseball into life. You know, you really want to help these kids grow in the game of baseball, but not just that, but become a better person in life. So how have you
Yeah,
been able to draw that aspect?
I mean, I don't know, probably since, like I said, my first year of pro baseball, my mental changed in the sense of like baseball to me is just a vessel of life, right? It's a way for you to learn how to operate life or just learn life in general. So I mean, it's helped me again like deal with failure, right? Because I mean, you're playing baseball. Baseball
You're
is
gonna
a
fail.
one
You're
sport
gonna
where they
fail.
tell you that if you go 3 for 10, you're a Hall of Famer. If you're 3 for 10 in basketball, you can't shoot. Hit the
You
rock,
out
pass
the
the
you out the
ball.
YMCA if you're shooting 3 for
Yeah,
10. Like
like pass the rock.
that's how you
Three for
go.
Pass the
ten.
rock.
Yeah,
How
as a
about 3 for 10
quarterback,
in completions?
exactly.
Number
As a
18, Russell
QB,
Wilson.
yeah, bro. You. Oh my God, you're getting. Yeah, get this man. But yeah, you're getting booed off the field. So, it's just one of those situations where I think for me, it just taught me so much about life. Adjustments, right? Like something's not going the way that I perceive it should go. Um, I'm not going to continue to do something over and over again. No, I'm going to try to find a way to find a solution, and again, just make an active adjustment. Um, Knowing too that in life, right? Look, I may do everything right, and I still may not get the result that I wanted. Right? I may be in the batter's box, and I may hit the ball as hard as I can with the best swing. Mechanically, I'm super sound, and that ball's a line out to the shortstop, and it's an out. Right? Like that's part of life, though, right? You may do everything right, and you still might not get what you want, and that's just
It
part of life.
happens.
So for me, yeah, I've always, always not true, but I have learned through
Yeah.
baseball that it's truly just a vessel for life. It's just gonna teach you life lessons through this game. Things like I told you before, Nico, were like if you don't execute, you might lose that opportunity, right? If you don't get it done, then someone else will get it done for you, right? If you're not working at your craft, somebody's behind you taking your spot. These are all life things, right? Like we say them in baseball and sports, but these are all life tools. These are all life lessons that this sport has taught me, and I mean teaches everybody that wants to invest in a deeper space. So, yeah, I mean I feel like again it's a big lesson teacher for me, or life teacher for me.
Yeah. And I think it's crazy being able as we get older, we kind of can draw that comparison in a sense. But I think you do a really good job at trying to instill that at a young age, right? For the 10 you guys, 11 you guys, 12 you guys, let them know like, no, this is kind of the good comparison in life. You draw it into school. When you go to school and you fail a test, you're just gonna sit there and complain and cry. No, you're gonna study, you're gonna get right, and you're gonna do what you
Yeah,
need to do, work your butt off to bring your grade back up,
yeah.
right? So you can't just sit there and fold over. So I think that's a really great kind of comparison and very good kudos in the sense of being able to bring that to light at such a young age for some of these kids.
And it's tough. Like I said, I
Yeah,
think some
it's
guys
hard.
don't necessarily. Some guys can't accept it, right? Like, but that's life. Like you sometimes there's times where things are going to occur in life, and you have to accept what it is and continue to move forward. But I think baseball. I mean, for me, right? And I played football, basketball, and baseball. Baseball was definitely the biggest, vessel of life for me out of all those sports that I played.
He is an avid weekend hooper.
I'm a
So
hoop.
I heard. I
We
heard.
are going to hoop. If I'm not coaching, we are going to hoop.
And after you're coaching, you're probably going to hoop because we've done it before.
Yes.
Really,
No.
right after it's 8 a.m., 10 a.m. game doubleheader. So we're going to East Porta.
Yeah, we're going to
That
Eastport to get a quick workout in, and then get to the gym and play for about an hour.
go splash some buckets.
Oh yeah.
Get
Oh
some
yeah.
work in. And so I think that's a good way to segue into this. Usually to end these interviews, we like to learn a little bit more about you and not just the thing that you're doing. So I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions, kind of rapid fire. Give me your answer on them. If you want to elaborate, go for it. But these are gonna be a little bit on the quicker end. All right?
Uh,
Right? All right. So you said you're gonna go ball out. If you weren't a baseball player, which sport would you have gone for?
oh, basketball.
Yeah.
Basketball?
Bas-
It's like if you're not a rapper, you want to be a baller. If you're
Yeah,
not a baller, you want to be a rapper.
Basketball. I mean, don't get it wrong. I probably could have been a really good tight end in football if I went at it, but basketball.
Okay.
That's my first love.
Who was your who was your inspiration in terms of baseball watching growing up?
Like player
Coach.
wise,
Yeah.
either watching my brother or probably like Adam Jones in baseball.
Okay.
Like, which people but
No, that's a good
probably
one.
Adam Jones, like super confident, went through a lot of adversity, been called every name in the book, and
Yeah.
still kept playing. So like, and because I don't want to go back to like say like, Hank Aaron, who phenomenal, right? But I had that rapport with Hank Aaron, but Adam Jones for me probably was a guy because I just able to watch him go through a lot of stuff, and he was a dude for a few years too. He was a dog for a minute.
For a hot little minute over there in Baltimore, for sure.
Yeah, he was a dog.
He had that phenomenal catch at the World
Baseball Classic. Oh yeah, if there's
the
anything he's
hard,
remembered
man.
for, it's that for sure.
He's hard.
And
he was hard.
like you said, the swag too after that. Whoa!
He was.
Yeah.
And it's crazy, right? Because like I said, you don't see him as like a superstar player by any means, but just like impact wise, watching him play and like things that he went through as an athlete and as a black athlete, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Give him his flowers now.
Superstar confidence with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who is your favorite athlete non-baseball?
Muhammad Ali. I did like so many like essays on him and whatnot. Like Muhammad Ali, not even a question.
Okay. I like that. When you write essays about somebody too, they get a little near and dear.
It's different.
Yeah, it's different. It's 100%.
Cassius Clay. It's different.
It's different. Absolutely. Back to like the entertainment field. Are you into any like things like movies, TV shows, anything like that? If so, what's your favorite of those?
You talking like current or just like in general?
General.
Was a big Fast and Furious guy when it first came out. They're kind of wild now. Like it's a whole different plot. Yeah. But the first 3 to 4 were hard.
They're in space now.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing now. They like it's like a whole GTA movie now about what they're doing now. Drumline, one of my favorite movies of all time.
Shout out Nick.
Like series wise, I'm a little nerd like Harry Potter. Like love Harry Potter. Like even going to Universal is fire to me.
Yeah.
And just seeing the Harry Potter world is cool. TV shows, I'm not gonna lie, I don't watch a lot of TV to be real with you. Trying to think TV show wise. I mean, like back in the day, I said back in the day, it wasn't that long ago, but like probably like The Challenge.
Oh, that's still good. I watch that still.
Yeah, like I got The Challenge or whatever. Like that was cool to watch all the time. Like coming home, like okay, challenge is on.
Like imagining you can be on it, like I'd body that challenge.
Right. I used to be like, okay, like how do I stay underwater for 10 minutes, like 5 minutes, like
yeah, bro, every time. That's the best part, man.
So probably just probably like something in that run.
Yeah. Okay. And then if you weren't still doing baseball and coaching, what would you want to do? Like outside of sports, what was something you want to do?
Something I want to do. I'm not gonna lie. I used to really want to create video games. Like I used to want to like build video games. I think it's cool. I think I want to build video games. I like I don't know. I like those type of things because it's real intuitive. And just cool to see your return on that, right? Like building a game that somebody wants to play and like they enjoy playing it. I feel like that'd be kind of cool to like create some,
Yeah, I feel like that's dope. You don't see that's a lot of skills in one. You get your creative mind, art, actual like technology, like knowledge behind it. There's a lot of things that go into creating a video game, which actually
my brother was an engineer major at first. He was at FAMU his first 2 years there. I remember like going there. I don't know if I was in middle school probably back then, going there and seeing like kids like build robots, and that was cool to me. So probably something like that. Like,
okay, I like that. I'm a big video game guy, so I like that.
First, me too, bro. I mean, I don't play as much as I can. I used to. I'm just busy, but I love it.
Oh, you guys need to play the show against each other.
You play the show?
I think Julian's really good though. Like, what?
I mean, that's like literally, I get paid for it, so
yeah. Like,
it's like my job partially.
Yeah, bro, gets paid to play. We can't play you. Nah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's that.
No,
But
that's my video
Like
game
a
say.
friendly.
little friendly game, little exhibition,
Oh
little
yeah, no,
pickup
we
game.
can do it. We can get a friendly in for sure.
Uh,
Yeah, I've been trying to get them to do it. They're like, "No, we'll play like Madden or something like that." I'm like, "That's fair," but
Madden, man, look, I'll be real with you. I was off Madden for a while. Like I hadn't played Madden for years until this past one. Because it just got out of hand for me. Like the good pass, I don't know where the DB's up in the air, jumping up 18 feet, taking a pick down. I had to stop playing it for a while. But this past year was cool. The yard was a cool addition to that too. The yard is really dope. I think we play that a lot with a lot of the kids and some of my friends and whatnot. Like the yard is awesome.
yeah, I think like being that you're a little bit younger is pretty nice for like the coaching aspect too, because like you
Oh,
grew
yeah.
up with video games also, so you can relate at least to like some level with some of these kids.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're on there like, you know, 1-to-1 comparing with their like Fortnite skills where they're cracked and they got
Yeah, I
like
don't play
these like
Fortnite.
$1,100 PCs that they probably got now, which
I
we
remember
just did not
no.
have. But
I played. I was a coach. Tim was my coach, and I remember we would hop on the game with Coach Wellborn and you were trash at Fortnite, but you.
No, listen,
it was
I'm
fun.
not even, listen. I won't sit here and tell you that I was like, no, Fortnite is not my game. Shooting games, somehow I end up like doing like a little like screen spray on accident.
ah,
Yeah, you just count me out. Yeah, you can count me out.
No,
Count
but
me
yeah,
out.
you do. That's dope. You do have that. Like you play games with like the kids. You know,
Yeah.
like you said, we go work out, go hoop with the kids. I think that's a dope thing too, as well. With you being kind of not 50 and like coaching 18-year-olds. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
there's
It's
not
fun
a
when you can
huge
relate.
disconnect. Like there's at least
No.
like closeness where you can kind of relate to it.
100%.
Hey man, we all love a coach that can play some video games.
Yeah. You know which coach is not your White Sox? Tony La Russa is probably not playing video games with those boys over there. I'm
Not
telling them
playing
right now.
video games at all, but
No.
he's still arguing with umpires though.
He's also just bad, but that's a different conversation. That's for the podcast.
His team hates him. Yeah, that's right.
That's for the podcast.
Disconnect. There's a big disconnect culturally in that clubhouse too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
His
a very.
his team doesn't even like him. I don't think. Like,
oh, dude.
Probably majority of the guys in there because majority.
It's
of
a
the
very
guys
ethnic and very cultural like driven
Yeah.
team, and they
The
got
White
like
Sox are
they got the guy
very
who
ethnic.
hates that.
Yeah.
he probably listens. He'll probably hear Meek Mill for the game and be like, "Shut that garbage off." It's like, come on,
Turn
Tony.
it off.
Come on, Tony. Come on, bro.
He probably was calling fucking bullshit calls trying to throw the games, man. White Sox should be way better than they are this year. I don't agree with Tony. Get him out of here. He's too
They got
old.
talent, man.
Yeah.
They got talent, some big talent.
I love TA. If you say my favorite player currently, TA7.
Tim Anderson is up there.
TA7 currently another one that like they threw the book at that man. Like they have called him every word in the book. They didn't want to give him his credit. Remember, like I think people forget coming up in the minors, they were like, "Yo, he's not even gonna play shortstop for us."
Yeah.
You know, they a lot of people really undersold TA, and then he comes out with Silver Slugger Award. He got snubbed for the All Stars like 3 years ago. In my opinion, he should have been an All Star. Like TA7 is one of those guys that defensively, offensively, like, and again embodies like confidence, swagger. I'm gonna be me no matter what anybody says, and I'm gonna come out here and play hard no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah, another guy like that, I feel kind of the same way towards like Mookie Betts. Like,
yeah,
that man is like such a good role model to so many people. Like, he's dealt with so much. Obviously, playing in Boston, it's not easy. Like, especially as anybody who's like of color. And so he had to deal with a lot, and then he gets traded and deals with all that. Now he's in LA. There's so many expectations. He just goes out and balls. Put him in the outfield. Put him a second. Put him on the. In the alley bowling, like he'll ball out.
I did see, he can ball. I did see that.
Yeah, but you got anything for us before we hop up out of here? If you want to promote anything or anything of that nature, tell us where we can find you on socials and all that good stuff. Now is your
obviously
time.
Instagram, TikTok. Follow me at T Black Baseball. Definitely blowing up the content. Just showing kind of what I do, what we do as an academy, just showing the growth of our players. showing the importance of what we do recruiting, and we're getting these guys to the next level as well. And just having a lot of fun doing it, having, you know, a little bit of swagger doing it too. Obviously, you need to follow MVP Florida on Instagram, Facebook, on there as well. And yeah, man, like I said, we got merch coming soon. You'll see a lot of merch coming from, you know, my actual company and then my brand for T Black. So that's coming off soon. But yeah, definitely follow us on Instagram. Follow T Black Baseball ASAP, man. So
Yeah.
obviously, you want to do more stuff with you guys going forward. You guys have been great, man, and I'm excited for the future, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank
We
you.
definitely plan on doing some more on field and hands on stuff in the future, and
Yeah.
that'll be a good time. I'll have all the links in the description if you guys are interested. Going and shooting him a follow and checking out all his stuff as well as the MVP stuff. Tim, thank you again for your time. I really appreciate you, and looking forward to everything else we may be doing together.
Appreciate it, fellas.
Yeah. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much, Coach.
Appreciate
All
you.
right, big dogs.